Hey everyone, I'm Ashley from AQCrochets, and in today's crochet vlog, I'll be crocheting a sunflower bouquet blanket. I previously made a Lily of the Valley bouquet blanket that I really liked making, so I decided to make another bouquet blanket and film what the process is like for all of you. I'll be following a YouTube tutorial by Lily Rosie Crafts to crochet this blanket, which I will link in my bio. Keep watching if you want to see how long it takes me to crochet a sunflower bouquet blanket, what my process is like, and how my finished blanket turns out. To crochet this blanket, these are the yarns I'll be using. For the base of the blanket, I'll be using Pound of Love yarn by Lion Brand in the color Sugar Cookie. The last time I made a bouquet blanket, one skein was the perfect amount for the base, so I'll be using it again. And for the sunflowers, I'll be using Soft Classic yarn by Loops and Thread in the colors Mocha and Highlighter. For the leaves, I'll be using some green acrylic yarn that I already have in my stash. And I'll be using a 4.5mm hook to crochet this blanket. Welcome to day 1 of crocheting this sunflower bouquet blanket. I'm going to start crocheting the base of the blanket using this Pound of Love yarn. I'm going to attempt to find the center pull of this yarn since I didn't do this last time I made a blanket and I regretted it since the skein kept rolling around everywhere as I crocheted. I normally don't use a center pull, but since this is such a big project and I'll be using the entire skein, it seems like this will make the crocheting go smoother. The yarn bark that ended up coming out of the center pull was super tangled, so it took me around half an hour to untangle. Because of this, I'm not totally sure whether it was worth it to do a center pull for this yarn, but I did eventually find the end, and hopefully this makes it easier to crochet with. Now it's finally time to start crocheting. So I'm starting my timer for the day, and we'll see how long I crochet today and what my blanket progress looks like after day 1. The base of this blanket is pretty much just doing double crochets throughout each round, so it's a good mindless project to work on. Since this blanket is worked in a circle, the beginning rounds work up super fast, which is nice. I was watching the movie Argyle while crocheting this, and it was actually a really entertaining movie to watch. If you have any TV show or movie recommendations, definitely comment them down below since I'm always looking for new shows to watch. Okay, so this is where I am going to stop for the day, and this is what my blanket is looking like so far. I'm finished crocheting, so I'm going to stop the timer. And we are at 1 hour and 57 minutes for day 1. Now it's day 2 of crocheting this blanket, and I'm about to start crocheting. I think I'm going to switch to a 5mm hook, and hopefully that doesn't mess up anything, but I'll keep you updated if I do end up switching back to my original 4.5mm hook. We'll see how far I get on the blanket today, so I'm going to start my timer for the day. Today was mostly just repeating double crochets all around like what I did yesterday, so there's not much to update on. One of my biggest tips while crocheting the base of this blanket is to find a good show or movie to watch, since this part of the blanket can be really repetitive and it's nice to have something to watch to help pass the time. Today I watched a few episodes of Severance while crocheting, which I had been meaning to watch for a while, and since the base of the blanket is pretty simple, I can focus on the show, which is good. So this is where I'm going to stop for day 2. I'm going to go ahead and stop the timer. And I crocheted 2.5 hours today, and this is what the blanket is looking like so far. And I'll show you a zoomed out view next. So this is what the blanket progress looks like when I'm standing up, and I crocheted until about round 25 today. Hey everyone, welcome to day 3 of me crocheting this sunflower bouquet blanket. And I'm going to get started and start the timer for day 3. Today looks a lot like the previous 2 days since we're building up the base of the blanket. Each round takes me around 25 minutes to crochet since the blanket is getting so big, so it definitely feels like it's progressing a little slower than before. And since it's mostly just me crocheting the same thing as the previous 2 days, I'm going to spare you the time lapses and jump to me finishing for the day. So this is where I'm going to stop for the day. I'm going to grab my phone and stop the timer. So we crocheted a little over 3 hours for day 3. And this is what my blanket looks like today. I crocheted until round 32 today, so I crocheted around 7 rounds today, and the blanket has definitely grown a lot. Hey guys, it's now day 4 of crocheting this sunflower bouquet blanket. And I'm about to start crocheting, so I'm going to go ahead and start my timer for the day. The last time I crocheted a bouquet blanket, it took me 4 days to crochet the base of the blanket. So if I'm following the same timeline, we'll hopefully finish the base today. I am basically just crocheting until I run out of the yarn I am using for the base. I'm not trying to hit a specific round count, and that's just because I don't want to have to attach more yarn or buy another skein for just a few rounds. So now we're getting to the end of the yarn, and I think in order to have a better gauge of how much yarn I have left, I'm going to wind up the remaining yarn into a ball using the outer yarn tail. I'm going to start winding the yarn, and we'll see how much yarn I have left to crochet with. We finally rolled up all of our remaining yarn for the base. Hopefully this is enough to crochet another round or two of the blanket. So I have this much yarn left, and I don't know if that's enough to complete a round, so we shall see. So update, I have this much yarn left, and I still have 2 more sections of the blanket until I complete the round. So I'm a little nervous that I'm not going to have enough yarn to finish the blanket, but I will keep you updated. Okay, so update is that I now have this much yarn and 1 more section to go. Hopefully it's enough, otherwise I'll be so sad since I will have to frog an entire round of this blanket, which is like 30 minutes of crocheting gone in a few seconds. And we did it! We did in fact win Yarn Chicken, and I only have this much yarn left, which is definitely not enough to do another round, but I'm so glad that we were able to finish off the round we just did. I've crocheted 39 rounds for the base of this blanket, and it took basically the entire skein of Pound of Love yarn to crochet it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut off the yarn and leave a long yarn tail so that I can weave that in later. I'm going to pull the yarn through, and the base of the blanket is done. I'm going to grab my phone and stop the timer. So we spent 3 hours and 43 minutes crocheting today. So it was a really long crocheting day, but I really wanted to finish the base of the blanket today so I can get started on the leaves tomorrow. So keep watching to see how that goes. And this is what the base looks like after 4 days of crocheting. In total, it took me 11 hours and 12 minutes to crochet the base of this blanket. My previous blanket base took me 13 hours to crochet, so it was actually faster to crochet this time. And I think that might just be due to me doing this pattern for a second time, as well as sizing up my hook. Hey guys, welcome to day 5 of crocheting my sunflower bouquet blanket. Today we'll be crocheting the leaves, so I have my green yarn here, and we will get started for the day. I'm going to go ahead and start my timer for day 5. Crocheting the leaves is a nice change of pace since it's something different than crocheting the same stitches over and over again like the base. It's also nice because it adds a little bit of color to the blanket, and it really feels like the bouquet part of the blanket is starting to come together. Okay, so I just finished crocheting the first round of the leaves, and that took me 35 minutes to crochet, and there's another round of leaves to go, so I'll keep working on that, and I'll update you when I'm done. So I finished crocheting the leaves, so I'm going to go ahead and stop the timer, and we are at 1 hour and 56 minutes for day 5. The leaves took me around 2 hours to crochet, which is about the same amount of time it took me last time I made a bouquet blanket. And this is what the blanket is looking like at day 5. This is about 15 hours of crocheting in total so far. Tomorrow we'll move on to crocheting the sunflowers, which is the part that I've been looking forward to. Hey guys, welcome to day 6 of crocheting my sunflower bouquet blanket. Today I'll be crocheting the sunflowers, and I counted how many sunflowers I'll need to crochet, and it's actually a lot more than I thought. I'll need to crochet 60 sunflowers to finish this blanket. I was thinking about what the best way to go about this would be, and I think I'm going to batch make the sunflowers in groups of 10 or 20. So I'll make 10 sunflowers, and then I'll sew them onto the blanket, and then I'll make another 10 and sew them onto the blanket. That way it doesn't leave all the sewing until the end, and I think it will be more efficient than crocheting one sunflower and then sewing that one on. I'm going to go ahead and start my timer for the day, and we'll see how far I get today. Okay, I finished crocheting my first sunflower, and that one sunflower took me around 12 minutes to make, so hopefully I get faster at this, otherwise this blanket is going to take a really long time. I'm definitely interested to see how many sunflowers I'll be able to make today. I finished crocheting for the day, so I'm going to stop the timer, and we are at 2 hours and 9 minutes for the day. And I was able to crochet 10 sunflowers today. This is what the sunflowers look like, the front part and the back part, as well as 7 of the middle part of the sunflowers. Hey everyone, welcome to day 7 of crocheting my sunflower bouquet blanket. I'm about to start crocheting for the day, so I am going to go ahead and start my timer. And we'll see how much crocheting I can do today. I also want to start sewing on the sunflowers to my blanket after I make a few more sunflowers, and I'm excited to see the blanket start to come together. The beginning part of today looks a lot like yesterday, so I'm going to speed through me making the next few sunflowers. So I've made 20 sunflowers so far, and I'm going to start sewing them on the blanket. So I just secured the first sunflower. It's relatively simple. The pattern just has you secure it in between the 2 leaves. I'm trying to conserve some of my green yarn because I bought this green yarn from Joann a while ago, and obviously Joann is going out of business, so they don't have this anymore. And I'm a little nervous I'm going to run out of the green yarn, so I'm leaving relatively short tails. And this is the second flower done. So 2 down, 58 more sunflowers to attach. I still have 40 sunflowers I have to crochet since I've only crocheted 20 sunflowers so far. And after I finish attaching the 20 sunflowers, I'm going to work on crocheting the rest of the sunflowers and repeating this process until the blanket is complete. Hey guys, so this is my progress at the end of day 7. I've crocheted and attached around 30 sunflowers to the blanket, and I have 30 more to go, so I'm halfway there. I'm going to stop the timer, and so for day 7, I worked on the blanket for 3 hours and 20 minutes. This includes crocheting the flowers, attaching the flowers to the blanket, and weaving in the ends. And I'll show you what the blanket is looking like next. So this is what the blanket is looking like after day 7. I really love how the blanket is turning out, and I think these sunflowers look really nice against the color I chose for the base of the blanket. Hey everyone, it's now day 8 of crocheting my sunflower bouquet blanket. I'm about halfway done with crocheting the sunflowers, so this is what the blanket looks like right now, and I still need to crochet 30 more sunflowers to finish the blanket. I did come to the realization that I think I will not have enough yellow yarn. It's looking like I won't have enough, so since I'm about at the halfway point, I'm going to weigh out how much of the yellow yarn I have left to see whether I have enough. So I'm going to weigh how much yarn I have left to see whether I have enough by turning on my weighing machine and then placing the yarn on top. It looks like I have exactly 2 ounces of yellow yarn left, and I did save the wrapper for the yarn so I can see how many ounces of yarn it originally had, and it was a 5-ounce skein to begin with. Since I only have 2 ounces left and I've only finished half of the sunflowers, I'll not have enough yellow yarn to finish the blanket, so I guess I'm off to Michael's to pick up some more yarn. So this is my local Michael's, and it was a really nice day today, and the store was not too busy, so it was really quick and easy to pick up the yarn I needed, and luckily they had it in stock. Hey guys, so I'm back, and I'm about to start crocheting for day 8, so I'm going to start my timer, and we'll see how far I get today. Today, I basically just crocheted a lot of sunflowers again. By this point, I've memorized how to crochet the sunflowers, so they're pretty easy to make, but definitely a little repetitive. I'm about an hour and a half in, and this is what my progress is like so far. I've crocheted 15 brown and green circles, which are the front and backs of the sunflowers, and I finished crocheting 1 sunflower. I'll hopefully finish crocheting the other 14 sunflowers today, and then we'll only have 15 more sunflowers to crochet to finish this blanket. I finished crocheting these 15 sunflowers, and this took me around 2.5 hours to crochet. I'll now be working on sewing these sunflowers on the blanket. So I finished attaching all the sunflowers I've made so far onto the blanket. I still have 15 more sunflowers I have to make tomorrow, and then I'll be officially finished with the blanket. I'm going to stop the timer for the day, and it looks like we spent 2 hours and 56 minutes working on the blanket. This is what the bouquet is looking like so far, and I'll show you what the blanket looks like next. It's so cool to see the blanket almost complete, and if I'm able to crochet the same amount that I did today, I should be finished with the blanket by the end of the day tomorrow. Hey everyone, welcome to day 9 of crocheting my sunflower bouquet blanket. I'm about to start crocheting for the day, so I'm going to start my timer. If I'm able to crochet a few hours today, I should be able to finish the blanket by the end of the day today, which is exciting. So I just finished crocheting 15 of the green insides of the sunflower, and this is the last of the green that I will need to crochet with. And this took me around 32 minutes to crochet. And now we're just working on crocheting the last of the sunflowers. I officially finished crocheting all the sunflowers I need to crochet for my bouquet blanket. I went ahead and stopped the timer, and it took me 2 hours and 34 minutes to crochet the last 15 sunflowers. This averages out to around 10.5 minutes per sunflower, and if I remember correctly, it took me around 12 minutes to crochet my first sunflower, so I did get faster after I got more familiarized with the pattern, which is cool to see. Now I'm going to start sewing on my last 15 sunflowers, and then we'll be officially done. So we are sewing on the last sunflower, which is very exciting. This blanket was a lot of hours of work, and I will total up the number of hours it took me to crochet this for you all at the end of the video, because even right now, I'm not sure of the exact amount of hours I've spent on this project. We've officially finished this sunflower bouquet blanket. Thank you so much for sticking around if you're still watching the video. I'm going to go ahead and stop my timer for the day, and we are at 2 hours and 46 minutes for the day. This is what the blanket looks like as a bouquet, and this is what it looks like as a blanket. I think this is one of my favorite crochet projects I've ever made, and I absolutely love how the finished blanket looks. Let me know in the comments what you think, or if you would ever make one for yourself. So now I'm going to add up all the hours I spent on this blanket and give you the grand total of how long it took me to crochet this sunflower bouquet blanket. To recap, I spent days 1 to 4 crocheting the base of the blanket. For day 1, I crocheted 1 hour and 57 minutes. For day 2, I crocheted 2 hours and 30 minutes. For day 3, I crocheted 3 hours and 2 minutes. For day 4, I crocheted 3 hours and 43 minutes. In total, I spent 11 hours and 12 minutes on the base. For day 5, I crocheted the leaves, and I crocheted 1 hour and 56 minutes. I spent days 6 to 9 crocheting and sewing on the sunflowers. So for day 6, I crocheted 2 hours and 9 minutes. For day 7, I crocheted 3 hours and 20 minutes. For day 8, I crocheted 2 hours and 56 minutes. For day 9, I crocheted 2 hours and 46 minutes. In total, I spent 11 hours and 11 minutes on the sunflowers. This brings our grand total for how long I spent working on this blanket to, drumroll please, 24 hours and 19 minutes. Let me know in the comments if this is longer or shorter than you expected. This is honestly a little shorter than I thought it would be. In the moment when crocheting, I definitely felt like this project was never ending, and I thought the sunflowers would add a lot more time to the project than it did, especially because I had to sew each sunflower onto the blanket, and I crocheted 60 sunflowers in total. I ended up using 1 skein of pound of love yarn for the base of the blanket, 2 skeins of yellow yarn for the sunflowers, and 1 skein of the green and brown yarns. And I went over what the color names and brands that I used at the beginning of the video. Overall, I had a lot of fun working on this project. This is only the second blanket I've ever crocheted since I mostly crochet plushies, but I'm definitely interested in crocheting another blanket in the future. If you have any ideas of what flower or type of blanket I should crochet next, let me know. Thanks again for watching this crochet vlog, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more crochet content and tutorials from me. You can also find me on Instagram and TikTok if you want to see more up-to-date crochet content.